Typically, a desert is defined by the amount of rain that falls in a year. But here in southern Nevada, we know there are a few other things that make our environment unique. To the average person, this is just a handful of dirt. But to a geologist, it's so much more. You can tell a lot from the soil, the history of the area, when it last rained, and how the landscape contributes to flooding can all be identified by this. On today's show, we'll dig deeper to find out why the valley floods. Carrie Ann takes a look at how our desert environment contributes to flooding.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and according to the experts we spoke with, the picture painted on this desert floor can tell a lot about an area's potential for flooding.
In the desert, there's not very much rainfall in a constant manner, and it comes in short bursts that are very rapid. These are erosional type events. They tend to strip what soils we do have from the mountains. It's pretty easy to see all the rock outcrop that's around me. And so this is just bare exposed rock outcrop. And then I am standing on a soil that is in between these pockets of rock outcrop. Now the soil's not going to be very deep here. It's going to be fairly shallow to the bedrock underneath. And as you can see with all the rock fragments that are here, it's going to have a lot of rock fragments in the soil. They're going to dilute that soil's ability to hold water. So even though we do have a soil, its ability to hold water is very limited in the mountains, and this plays a very, very key role in infiltration and runoff of water through rain events that then runs off the mountain and down into the valley that needs to be dealt with by the flood control district.
In the summer, we have very high intensity, short duration thunderstorms or convective storms. When we tend to get flash floods, the storms are so intense that the ground just cannot infiltrate the water. So it runs off into the flood control channels and ultimately gets to the Colorado River system. Typically in the desert, you end up with a very thin upper horizon of soil. That's usually underlined by an impermeable layer of soil, so the water can't infiltrate below that system anymore. That actually, if it occurs very near the surface, can mean that very shortly into a precipitation event, you're immediately getting runoff because you can no longer infiltrate into the soil. So it's important to understand how the soils are distributed in that watershed, what the ages of the soils are, and ultimately all of that information goes into the hydrologic models and the hydraulic models that actually help us determine how big a flood control structure to create.
Infiltration is the rate at which water can enter the soil, and it is affected by surface characteristics and roughness, rock fragments. It's affected greatly by prior moisture conditions. Soils that are somewhat moist have a much different infiltration rate than soils that are completely dry.
Caliche is another common substance that affects how water soaks into the ground. If you've ever tried to dig a pool or plant a tree in your yard, it's likely you've come across caliche. This hard rock is formed when calcium deposits are left behind during storm events. These calcium deposits form a concrete-like barrier that is extremely difficult to break apart.
The common term in Las Vegas Valley is caliche. The density of that is not quite as dense as rock, but it's comparable. And so it is similar to bedrock, inhibiting the water holding capacity of soils, not just up on the mountains where it's shallow to bedrock, but in the valley below also.
As the water flows through the mountains, it picks up sediment or soil. The more sediment the water is carrying, the more power the water has to carry even bigger things like rocks, trees, or even cars and trailers. Once the water comes out of the mountains and starts to spread across the valley floor, the water slows down and a lot of the sediment drops out. The cleaner the water gets, the less power it has to carry those large objects.
Once the water comes out of the mountain front, it slows down because the slope in the valley floor is much less than the slopes in the mountains. That slows the water down. It allows all the sediment to drop out of the water flow.
Deposits of these debris flows generally form alluvial fans and coalescing fans in the fan piedmonts below the mountain front.
In the Las Vegas Valley, we're completely surrounded by alluvial fans. In Las Vegas, when we have multiple channels coming out of the mountain fronts, we actually end up with what we call coalesced fans, and that's where we end up with two fans intermingled. On a natural alluvial fan, the flow path is actually very unpredictable because it can either stay within the channel that's coming out of the mountain front, or it can actually change during a flood event. The channel can move, or the water can actually come out of that channel and then flow as sheet flow across the surface of the fan.
And so these fans then become really important when urbanization occurs and you begin to build homes on these fans. Now you have to take into consideration where those channels are, where water is going to be flowing, and you have to mitigate that through some kind of flood control structure.
A lot of careful planning goes into the construction of a flood control facility. While the characteristics of our soil can bring some challenges with flood control, there's some benefits as well. Geotech is a local company that helps us determine the characteristics of the soil on a construction site. Oftentimes, the soil can actually be used in the construction process as part of a detention basin spillway or embankment. That's a huge advantage. It saves the district money, which allows those saved dollars to be used in other flood control improvements.
Well, we'll go out into the field and do an investigation during the design phase, and we will drill borings deep into the soil. We'll also go out the backhoe and take large samples, and we'll characterize the physical and engineering properties of the soil for that particular site. Then we'll also go around the site and we'll find suitable materials for construction. And then we'll know how much waste we'll have, so the contractor can make estimates of how much it's going to cost him to produce all these materials. It's a process that the local engineers and the regional flood control have developed here over the past 20 or 25 years that really allows us to do all this. And it's been groundbreaking technology. It hasn't been done everywhere, so it really is something that we've kind of invented ourselves, and it's very efficient.
This collaboration is a huge benefit to the community. Every dollar that's saved during construction can be reinvested into another part of our flood control network.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. And when we come back, how a federal partnership has helped us make huge strides in flood control.
I want to show you some pictures your parents probably wouldn't want you to see. Pictures of parents making big mistakes. Here's someone's dad doing something foolish. He's actually trying to drive through a flooded street. Here's another. And another. Every summer we get flash floods, and every summer the same thing happens. And hey, if all this water can do this to a car, imagine what it'd do to a kid. Look, don't be foolish. Flash floods kill. Tell your parents.
A reminder from the Clark County Regional Flood Control District.
Since the start of the Regional Flood Control District, we've accomplished several milestones, investing more than $1.6 billion in flood control infrastructure, and now finalizing the Tropicana and Flamingo Washes project. Carrie Ann tells us more about this federal partnership.
It took a lot of coordination, 14 years and more than $335 million, but the benefits to the community made it worth it. The 8 detention basins, including this one here at Red Rock, and 28 miles of channel provide a huge amount of protection to the valley. But this wasn't a typical construction project. The partnership with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers made it unique.
Tropicana Flamingo Washes project started construction in 1995 and wrapped up in 2009. It was a 14-year construction project on a $335 million investment to flood protection in southern Nevada. The project was authorized by Congress, and 75% of the cost of the project was paid by the federal government. We didn't have to spend $335 million on this project, just 25% of that. So we could take the other money and build other pieces of the flood control master plan throughout Clark County, and so this helped us get further faster.
The Corps of Engineers, we're kind of the federal arm. We bring in the federal money for the overall flood control program. It takes a little bit of legislation, got to get people involved back in Washington, make programs get authorized. The Tropicana Flamingo Washes program itself consists of about 28 miles of mainline channels, has 8 basins. 5 of those are detention basins, and 3 of those would be debris basins. And then it has a lot of lateral channels that come along with it to also gather up the water.
Today we're at the Red Rock Detention Basin, and it is one of the most upstream detention basins in the network of flood control facilities that comprise the Tropicana and Flamingo Washes project. This was the first project built. This project existed before we signed an agreement with the Corps of Engineers. It was built by the county prior actually to the existence of the flood control district, and the Corps in their analysis showed that it needed to be larger. And one of the reasons was that it was the basin that provided the greatest protection on the west side of the valley.
There's several things that are unique about this project. First of all, as far as Civil Works project goes in the Los Angeles district, this is actually one of the biggest ones that we've ever had. However, what's unique about this district is not only the partnership, but we learned some new technologies when we were doing this.
When you talk about the scale and the complexity of projects, this is just so much more complex and required such a team effort from everybody that's involved. I asked the folks in the audience, how many times have you been in an organization where you are recognized for the great work that you do is the last day that you're on the job? We're trying to change that mentality across the Corps and what we're doing. We need to recognize folks for the great work that they do while they're on the job.
The Tropicana and Flamingo Washes project was unique because of the agencies involved and the magnitude of facilities needed to handle flash floods in our desert environment. That partnership was recognized at the district's Board of Directors meeting. The Army Corps of Engineers does work all around the country thanks to funding from the federal government.
The flood control network is designed and laid out specifically to control flooding here in the arid Southwest, and it is unique. It's very different than flows that you see in the Midwest and along the Missouri River, and those areas, the river stays along a given course and you can set back your development from that. Here, the flows are spread all across the alluvial fan, and so you have to design your network to accommodate that. And one of the ways to do that is you put your detention basins or your debris basins up near the base of the mountains. They collect flows out of the steep washes that come out of the mountains before they get on the fan, and then we reduce those flows in the basins and then convey them in a channel. So you would have two choices. You could either construct this facility or network of facilities, or you would have to eliminate large areas for development because they would be vulnerable to flooding on the fan.
The extensive partnership was a huge benefit for the community. Several agencies were able to come together not only for the funding of the project, but construction as well. This helped eliminate big costs to the community later on.
When the project was originally conceived, the Beltway was not in existence, and in the early phases of the project, we needed to coordinate with the county and their consulting engineers on the alignment of the Beltway and modify the alignment of the channels so that they would be compatible and would be coordinated together. The projects were able to be built simultaneously so that there didn't need to be costly reconstruction or inconvenience to the public. The Flood Control District looked at this as a great opportunity to leverage our money. We got $335 million worth of infrastructure for $85 million. So that's a great benefit to the community.
You know, it's all about trying to minimize the cost of the overall program, so we look at what's most feasible for the particular location. But the Corps of Engineers really did a great job on this, as well as both sponsors that we have here on the project. The two sponsors, of course, being Clark County Regional Flood Control District and Clark County Department of Public Works. Great people to work with. I really enjoyed the program that we had here. And the program has really helped. We've removed about 18 square miles of drainage area from the 100-year floodplain, and it's just improved the overall living conditions here in the southwest part of the valley tremendously.
And to know that you've been involved with an organization that's building strong and taking care of people, and also making sure that we're keeping our community safe. So it's rewarding to be part of such an organization.
This project truly was a huge undertaking, not only by the Flood Control District, Clark County, the local community, the landowners that we had to buy land from or get land dedicated from, local construction companies, the Corps of Engineers, the federal government, but also the Board of Directors over all these years of the district, and the federal delegation, because without their support, this would not have happened. It was interesting to see how the federal government works today with the discussions about no earmarks in Washington, D.C. I don't know if this project would have even been funded in today's climate. So very, very fortunate this community is to get what we did at the time we got it. And I am very fortunate to be here that whole time to see this thing come to completion.
The wrap-up of the Tropicana and Flamingo Washes project is a huge accomplishment for the district. This major investment will be a benefit to the community for years to come.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. That project is something that we're all very proud to have been a part of. When we come back, we'll talk about some other projects that are under construction.
At a time when Southern Nevada needs to be water smart, did you know taking your car to a car wash saves not only gallons of water, but also traps all that dirt and other nasty pollutants? Washing your car in the driveway allows grease, soap, and oil to flow down the street into storm drains and onto Lake Mead, our primary source for drinking water. Do your part. Wash smart. A clean car and a cleaner environment. This message brought to you by the Stormwater Quality Management Committee, a program of the Regional Flood Control District.
Don't press your luck. Steer clear of floodwater.
Welcome back. With every completed project, another part of the valley is better protected from flooding. And that's why the district's construction program is top priority. Carrie Ann tells us more.
Generally, the district has about a dozen projects under construction at any given time. Each of those projects helps complete our master plan and connects the network of facilities that carries floodwater through the valley to Lake Mead.
This is the Gowan Outfall Lone Mountain project. It starts at Rancho in Lone Mountain near the Santa Fe Station Casino, and it proceeds east down Lone Mountain to Decatur. At Decatur, it will tie into an existing storm drain that was built with the prior phase. It's about 9,600 feet long, which is about 1.5 miles of storm drain that will be constructed with this project. It's designed to pick up flows at Rancho, and then we're going to have drop inlets along the alignment along the way down east to collect flows within Lone Mountain and try to get them into the storm drain. This is a storm drain that's in the middle of a roadway. This is a heavily traveled section of Lone Mountain. There are a lot of cars and traffic to deal with. We also have to deal with a lot of existing utilities that are in conflict with the storm drain that we're trying to construct. One snag we had on this project was the contractor that was originally awarded the construction actually had some financial difficulties in the middle of the project and actually filed for bankruptcy. We prepare for that situation by having the contractors hire a bonding company to guarantee that the project will be constructed on time. The bonding company did take over once the contractor walked off the job. They did hire another contractor to come in and finish this work. That new contractor has mobilized and they are working again. So it did delay the completion of the project a few months. It's due to be completed now in August of 2012. It doesn't cost the district any more money because of what happened with the contractor. The bonding company, that's their job. They're like an insurance company. The contractor pays them a premium. If something goes wrong and they need the bonding company to come in, that's their job, is to come in and finish the project up. So there's no additional cost to the district. The only cost is really extra time. It's taken more time to get the work completed now.
Since we know only completed facilities provide flood protection to a community, the district always tries to get projects constructed as quickly and efficiently as possible. Once a facility is complete, another project is waiting in the pipeline, ready to start construction.
We currently have 11 projects out to construction totaling about $97 million. Those 11 projects we have under construction do include a whole variety of different types of projects that include detention basins and underground storm drains and channels. We do have 4 projects that have already advertised, and we're just waiting for those projects to start construction and get their notices to proceed. They total about $34 million. So that's about 15 projects totaling about $130 million that's currently under construction or just about getting ready to start.
Typically, the district has projects in several different stages of construction. That means while one project is just starting, another project may be wrapping up, providing another part of the valley with flood protection.
We have a project that's just about to wrap up. It's the Duck Creek Channel project between Mountain Vista and Green Valley Parkway. It's located in kind of the southeast part of the Las Vegas Valley near Russell and Mountain Vista. That existing wash through that area had a lot of tight bends and curves in it. There was some erosion problems and instability along the side slopes of the channel. So we wanted to fix that issue, where we are putting about 4,000 feet of channel in on that project. Cost to the district's about $7.5 million. The project's due to wrap up in February of 2012, although the contractor is really moving on that project and may actually beat that date and be done a little quicker. We have another project that's just beginning construction. That's the Oakey Kalen to Barnard project, which is actually located between Valley View and Rancho on Oakey. The storm drain is designed to collect flows within Oakey and get them underground, and we also have some lateral pipes that will extend out into the subdivisions on each side of the roadway and collect flows from historic problems that we've had on those subdivisions and protect some houses in there.
Usually a project is designed, then contractors submit bids. The project goes to the contractor with the lowest responsible bid. But recently, the district has taken a different route for more complicated projects. Construction manager at risk jobs pull the contractor in during the design phase. This allows the contractor to give input in the design that can help prevent costly conflicts or delays during construction. Oakey Drain Kalen to Barnard is an example of one of these more complicated projects.
The ultimate portion of this project is the storm drain system for the flood control. In order to put the storm drain system in, though, we had to relocate the sewer line and relocate the water line as well, because they would be in conflict of where the new storm drain system goes. All these old neighborhoods, usually they ran the water and the sewer right down the middle of the road. We've already got the sewer line completely relocated. We did that right off the start. The operation you can see in the background is the trencher. We're actually trenching because we got into the caliche. The trencher is a giant rock saw. It looks like an enormous chainsaw. It's got about a 20-foot boom on it with a 3-foot wide chain, and it basically cuts a slot right through the rock. On this particular project, we dig and lay every day. So we'll dig out 100 feet and we'll lay 100 feet of box if that's what we can get in one day. Put it right back in and get it backfilled right up. And that mainly is to minimize the open trench, minimize the potential of an accident from the homeowners, or to keep them safe. We should have everything, including the final lift of asphalt, done probably by about the end of the summer.
While the construction can be a big inconvenience for residents, this area has experienced problems with flooding for years. Once the project is complete, residents here should see a big improvement.
This area was a really bad location for flooding. It didn't drain out anywhere. Everything from up on the hill washed down into the intersection of Rancho and would pool up in the intersection of Rancho. If you build a storm drain system from the top down, then you capture all the flows up above and you have no place to dump it. It has to have a place to drain out. So typically all storm drain systems are built from the bottom up. And that's exactly what we did here. That way if there is a flood event, it can be captured and use the system as it's supposed to.
Most of the time, we're building flood control facilities in neighborhoods that have already been established. That means residents are going to have to deal with construction. We ask for everyone to be patient. The benefits are on the way.
Most of the homeowners have been very accommodating, and I think they ultimately realize that it's going to eliminate the flood problems that they've dealt with for so long. I'm sure a lot of the homeowners that have been here long enough to see some of the flood events that come through here have got to be just ecstatic to know that that won't be an issue for them anymore.
We do have on our website a link on our homepage at regionalflood.org to show projects that are out to bid right now. It's updated every day, so as projects go out to bid, we do add them to the list. We also have an interactive map on our website where you can go in and see if there's projects proposed in your neighborhood and what the status of those projects are, when they propose to be constructed, and even what type of facility it'll probably be.
The district is a little more than halfway done with its master plan. We still have another 36 detention basins and 240 miles of channel to build.
Thanks, Carrie Ann. The contractors really try to do everything they can to minimize the impacts to residents. We'll be right back.
I'm Agent Smith.
And I'm Agent Jones.
We're busting people who pollute Clark County.
Uh-oh.
Sir, your dog left a little gift for us.
He did?
Sir, pet waste can wash off lawns down storm drains untreated into Lake Mead.
Oh.
Sir, when Fido leaves a gift, do your duty. Scoop it and toss it.
Oh, okay.
Do something positive.
Don't trash Clark County. It's our home, too.
While our construction program is top priority, the district is also tasked with reminding people to always be flood safe. One of the ways we do that is our student outreach program. Carrie Ann gives us a quick lesson.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. M, and I work for the Regional Flood Control District. Okay, so I want you guys to think really hard. What do you think the Flood Control District does? What do I do at my job? It's called the Flood Control District. The Student Outreach Program is an important aspect of the district's public information campaign. Every year, district staff speaks to an average of 8,000 second and third grade students. Each presentation focuses on the dangers of floodwater. It's a lesson teachers think is extremely important.
I moved to Vegas from Michigan in July of '99. I made it here 2 days before that big flood happened. And because I was, drove 2 days pretty much without stopping, I remember waking up, turning on the TV and going, oh, I wonder where that is, not knowing that it was right outside. So I was just amazed at how people were getting airlifted and everything just from that. So I had no idea that flooding could be just this dangerous out here.
Do you think you could stand up if water was rushing at you that fast? During the 30-minute presentation, the students learn about flash flood season, why the valley floods, and most importantly, the 3 Ds of flood safety. The first one is floodwater is very dangerous. It can rush up to 30 miles per hour. So the second D is floodwater is very dirty. Go home and tell your mom and dad that the third D is don't drive, because you're safer waiting inside and waiting out the storm than you are trying to drive home in floodwater. A summer storm in 2003 is the last time the valley saw extensive damage from flooding. Since many of the students weren't born at that time, the video helps them see the impacts.
I liked when that water drop was talking about how not to play in the water and stuff.
I think you were very successful. She was very animated. She grabbed their attention, and then they got to have a little video at the end, which also reiterated everything that she said. I like that it hit home for them because it's like, you know what? Wow, that can and it possibly will happen to me in my lifetime. I thought it was phenomenal.
The program fulfills the guidelines for the school district's curriculum essential framework. That means teachers are able to use the program to help meet health and science requirements. That's a huge plus for teachers, and students say they're learning a lot about what to do the next time it rains.
I'm just going to stay inside and, watch TV. I didn't know how dangerous floodwater is. I will never play in the detention basins or the channels like we saw people do in the video.
And that's why there's some warning signs that have been set up on the TV and on the radio that warn people when it is flooding outside. Okay, the first one is a flash flood watch. That means watch out because it's raining and a flood could be coming. The second one is a flash flood warning. That means it's already raining and it's already flooding, so stay inside.
I would be super scared if I was in it.
Are you guys going to play in floodwater? No, that's what I like to hear.
The Student Outreach Program is a free resource that's available to all public and private elementary schools in Clark County. If you'd like to get your class scheduled for a flood safety presentation, call the number on your screen, 685-0000.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Flood Channel. Remember to log onto our website at regionalflood.org for more information about our Student Outreach Program. You can also contact us on Facebook. For all of us here at the Flood Channel, I'm Betty Hollister, and remember to always be flood safe.